Distract him, Casey. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the March 22nd, 2022 Hempstead Town Board meeting. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Morris. Supervisor Clavin.
I am here.
Councilman Carini.
Here.
Councilman D'Esposito.
I'm here.
Councilman Dunn.
Here.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby.
Here.
Councilwoman Miller.
Here.
Councilman Muscarella.
Yeah.
Receiver of Taxes Janine Driscoll.
Here.
Since he's already standing, I'm going to ask Councilman D'Esposito to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Wait for everybody. Don't rush.
Take your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, good morning, everybody. I hope today finds you nice. And before we start, we actually want to take a moment to recognize three individuals. Before the ceremony today, we took the time to present some recognition awards to three local heroes, and you don't use that word lightly when you're describing it, and we were talking to them upstairs, and I thought it'd be appropriate to ask them to come down to be recognized for the town board. On January 18th, at approximately 12 noon, a crew from Banker Construction was installing a water main on Lawson Avenue in East Rockaway. Suddenly, they started hearing glass breaking nearby. Upon turning around, the three men saw smoke coming from a second-floor home on Davis Avenue. Immediately, two of the crew members ran over and banged on the door of the home to get the attention of anyone who might be inside. Well, actually, folks, it turns out there were four people in total, all teenagers, who were in the basement of that home on fire and completely unaware that there was a fire 2 floors above them at that same dwelling. In addition, Ray knew the neighbor, and he went next door to make sure that their dog was safe. So good job on that one, Ray. I don't want you forgetting that. But you know what? The crew saved all four of these individuals' lives. You know what? They are real heroes in our community. Upon saving those lives, the fire department came from East Rockaway and put out the fire. But really, it was the action of these three individuals from Banker Construction that there are four people still with us today. And I really think it's appropriate that we ask them to come out and be recognized for the heroes they are. You know, you hear about all the bad things in our communities, all the bad things happening. Here are three individuals that really, you know what, recognize the situation, had the wherewithal to go out there and get these people out of a basement. And I think they said that as anybody who knows a teenager, two of them were sleeping. So these three gentlemen are real heroes. So with that, if I could please ask to come on up to the front for their proper recognition, Ray Rudin Jr., Raymond Bell, and Juan Romero. You guys turn around. Gentlemen, on behalf of the 750,000 residents in the town of Hempstead and the families of those lives you saved, we want to say thank you to your company, and thank you for being who you are. God bless all three of you and your families. And from our friends from Banker Construction who came out here today, keep up the good work. We really appreciate working with you. We do a great job with you guys, so thank you very, very much. And with that, Madam Clerk, would you please call the first public hearing?
Yes, we have a proposed local law regarding regulations and restrictions to limit parking in East Atlantic Beach and Oceanside.
Okay, is there any member of the board who wishes to be heard on this? I do not have any slips. Any member of the public who did not sign in wishes to be heard on item number 1? If not, may I please have a motion?
I moved
We have a second?
that the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding parking or standing prohibitions in East Atlantic Beach, Oceanside, and Westbury.
Any member of the board wish to be heard on this? I do not have any slips. Any member of the public wish to be heard on item number 2 that did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding arterial stops in Merrick and North Belmore.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard on this? I don't have any slips on this. Any member of the public that did not sign in that wishes to be heard on this? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Padrino.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding traffic regulations in the vicinity of schools in Oceanside.
Any member of the board wish to be heard on this? I do not have any slips on item number 4. Anybody who is here wish to speak on item number 4 did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
Supervisor, I move that the public hearing be closed and the proposed local law be adopted.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Padrino.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn. Aye. Senior Councilwoman Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding bus stops in Oceanside.
I don't have a member of the board wish to be heard on this. I don't have any slips. Any member of the public did not sign in wish to be heard on item number 5. If not, may I please have a motion?
Supervisor, I move that the public hearing be closed, the proposed local law be adopted.
Any second?
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Padrino.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding handicap drop-off and pickup only in Franklin Square.
Any member of the board wish to be heard? I don't have any slips. Does any member of the public did not sign in and wishes to be heard on item number 6? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move that the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Padrino.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Madam Clerk?
Muscarella.
Aye.
Sorry. Madam Clerk, please call the next item. My apologies.
We have a proposed handicap parking on public streets in Elmont, Franklin Square, Oceanside, and Uniondale.
Any member of the board wish to be heard? I do not have any slips. Any member of the public did not sign in and wishes to be heard on item number 7? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move that the public hearing be closed and the motion adopted.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Diaz-Padrino.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a resolution adopting a CEQA negative declaration and determination of non-significance in connection with an application for a special exception approval for a parcel of land in Baldwin. I do the both?
Madam Clerk, I believe it should be called in connection with and heard
Yes.
in connection with
I was just going to do that. Thank you, Mr. Town Attorney.
I apologize.
No, that's connected to item number 8, which is the application of Gersange Auto Repair for a special exception public garage for automotive body repairs in Baldwin.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We're sorry for the town attorney doing that to you. Does any member of the board wish to be heard on this? Are we calling for the hearing first, Joe? Yes. Okay, so we're going to start off. I have a couple of slips. We're going to start off with Tom McKevitt. Is that you back there?
Yes, it is.
If you give your name and address for the record.
Sure. Good morning, Supervisor Clavin, members of the board. My name is Thomas McKevitt, Son Ward, Braff Koblenz, 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard, Uniondale, New York. Representative the applicant, Gersange Auto Repair, for a special exception for a public garage to operate an automotive repair shop. This property is located at 1580 Grand Avenue, Baldwin, also known as Section 36, Block N, Lot 267 on the land tax map of Nassau County. Property is located in the Business X zone of the town of Hempstead. The lot consists of 8,535 square feet and is currently the site of a one-story stucco repair shop, which consists of 2,220.38 square feet, with 2,040 square feet being part of a service garage and 180 feet being an office. According to the Assessment Department records, the property for the repair goes back to 1938, although the Building Department records more indicates it goes back to around 1940, with an extension that was constructed in 1959. I have given a array of photographs to the board members so you can see what the site currently looks like. It is located on the west side of Grand Avenue with a frontage of 100.51 feet. Immediately to the west, north, and south are the Mendocino Green Apartments. On the east side of Grand Avenue are Baldwin Dry Cleaners, B&F Johnstone Supply, which contains HVAC parts and equipment, and a Smart Scribe, which is a professional writing and tutoring center. There are also a number of empty storefronts, which appear to be recently renovated on the east side of Grand Avenue. My client purchased the premises in June of 2020, and he began doing work at the premises. At that point, the building department issued a stop work order. He didn't realize he needed a permit for the work he was doing, so he then hired an architect, filed an application with the building department, and the building department denied it, requiring a special exception for which we are standing for here today. And this was the first opportunity we were able to go and be able to get a hearing date before this board. My client has been in the automotive repair business for 20 years. He did own his own repair shop in Brooklyn from 1999 to 2019. It was his intention to open the shop in 2020. Of course, he's unable to do so, so he's been working as an employee at another store in Laurelton for the past 2 years, simply to go and get his income going. It's the intention for the shop to be open Mondays through Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. There will be a total of 3 employees. There will only be automotive repair. No body work will be done on the location. There will be no used car sales, nor any storage or rental of commercial vehicles, landscaping, or otherwise at the site. He's going to keep it as a clean site. According to the site plan, there are a total of 5 regular parking spaces plus 1 accessible space for a total of 6. The building zone ordinance requires 5, so this will comply with the parking of the Town of Hempstead Building Zone Ordinance. Just a step back, this property has been very poorly maintained for many, many years. That was the owner before my client bought it. My understanding was an owner who did have a very poor history at the Town of Hempstead, a lot of summons with a lot of piece of property. Again, my client bought this as a fresh new start in June of 2020 in order to go and getting a very reputable and respectful and clean shop to the Baldwin area. I'll note that according to the inspection report by the building department on March 4th, it noticed a couple of violations. It noticed an open permit for an extension to the station, which I note that according to the building department search sheet, that's actually a closed permit. So again, the records I indicate is actually a closed permit, not an open permit. There is an open permit from 1941 for 2 floodlight poles and a flagpole, which are no longer there, and also for the sign pole as well. There were notice violations issued for debris around the property, including an old Jeep, jet ski, and trailers. And I'll be very quite honest with you, Mr. Supervisor. The property looked like an absolute disgrace. It was a disgrace, it was abhorrent, and I told my client that unless things change very quickly, I was not appearing before this board and wasting this board's time. So what the issue with my client was is that when he was issued that stop work order back in 2020, he was nervous to do any work there whatsoever, fearing he would go and get a summons. As a matter, what happened is all that debris back there was not my client's. They're either from his predecessor or people have been dumping material at the property because my client has not been there. And again, the property looked like an absolute disgrace. So I was able to contact Mr. John Lipinski from the building department, who made it very clear that my client was able to do a cleanup at the property and not incur any violations. My client, within 48 hours, cleaned that entire property. As a matter of fact, he took it out. There's not even a blade of grass there anymore for there to be any weeds. And I made it very clear to him he had to do this. If he had any chance to come before his board today, I'll say my client did the right thing. He cleaned it, and again, cleaned in rapid time as an indication of the type of business person he wants to be to the Baldwin community. And again, we did a reinspection with Mr. Lipinski this past Wednesday, as well as the building department, and I think you'll admit that the property is much cleaner than it has been in many, many years. And yeah, certainly, our attention to this point. So, again, that is my case. As part of the renovation property, he will put a California stucco design on it, very similar to what's on the east side of the property. All the garage doors have to be replaced. There is a violation for a dangerous condition for the lentils. I took a look at the lentils. They appear to me not to be structurally deteriorating. They are exposed, but again, as part of the renovation, all new doors and all new stuccos going in there to make it a presentable appearance. So again, my apologies for the client. This property did not look like what it should have. It was an honest misunderstanding on his part, a misunderstanding I think with the building department we've hopefully resolved. And again, make this something that's proud for the town of Hempstead and the Baldwin community can have.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Kev. It's funny, I drive by there a lot, and when it was cleaned, I took notice of it too, because it was really an eyesore in the area. So just so I know, and you said he's going to redo the doors, which would be in and of itself an improvement, but then he's going to stucco the facade of it?
Yes.
That's nice. And then in the back, what does he intend to do in the rear of it?
Well, there's going to be a parking back there in that instance. Again, right now, it's literally piles of dirt back there. Just look at the photos, and he's obviously got a blacktop off. What's interesting is there's actually a garage door back there.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
And you couldn't get there. I mean, not physically. So obviously he's going to blacktop it off to make that accessible for as well.
Okay, that was the one thing I was curious about, because I saw the garage door in the back. Never would have known it with all that debris that was back there previously from the prior owner.
Yeah.
But like I said, I took notice of the fact that really they had cleaned up that facility in a timely fashion. It is funny that you said 48 hours, because I drove by one day and it was looking one way, and then 2 days later, it really was looking another. So kudos to you. Do you have anybody else for your presentation?
That's it, Mr. Chair. Mr. Speaker. Again, I made exceedingly clear for my own sake I was not coming before this board unless my client did the right thing.
Okay. I see a couple of other residents or local business owners are here, so I'll ask you to kind of stand by in case there are some questions. Ignacio Icona? Hey, Ignacio, how are you? If you want to go to your name and address back there by the mic, that'd be awesome. Thanks. How we doing? If you name and address, that'd be great.
My name is Ignacio Iacona. I own the building on 1610 Grand Avenue, right down the block. It's a auto parts store and a nail salon.
Is that south?
That is going south, yeah.
Yeah.
1610.
Yep.
And I have two tenants, and my problem there is parking. And people leave their cars there all day long. I had to call enforcement to have them rotate the tickets because they just don't listen to the signs.
Where is the parking coming from? From the previous?
It's coming from all over the place. There's another repair shop across the street from me.
Right.
He parks his cars all along the street.
Okay.
They sit there all day. So my tenants cannot have their customers have any parking, basically, and they're losing business, and I lose money too because of the situation we have. It's ongoing.
Okay. So why don't we say that's Grand Avenue is a county road.
I have no problem with the client fixing up the place, whatever.
And I appreciate that. I get it. But your issue is that there are people and the other automobiles are eating up the streets for parking. So why don't we do this? I see my building commissioner in the back looking very, very pensive. Freddie, you back there? Stand up. Look happier. Come on. That's Freddie Jarwitz. He's the building commissioner. What we're going to do is we're going to have him work with you to get the information and then call up to the county and ask them maybe to look at the parking and if need be, to do some restrictions or making sure those are registered vehicles on Grand Avenue. I get what you're saying. You're trying to operate a business. I know where your business is.
My taxes are, sky high,
Yep, absolutely. So maybe you could stick around and talk to Freddie and we could follow up and I'll bring in the county about, making sure that your clients can utilize the parking there so you can maintain your business and we help you survive. Fair enough?
I have another idea. I'll just put parking meters up. I mean, something that they call rotate.
Parking meters get a little dicey, but everything. We'll talk to you. But if you could stick around, Freddie, you'll do a follow up with that. That'd be great. Okay, you got it, Mr. Ancona.
Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for coming down today.
Good luck.
Thank you. Next, I have an Ed McElroy. Mr. McElroy, if you give your name and address for the record in the back there, I appreciate it.
Hello, I'm Ed McElroy. I live at 1600 Grand Avenue in Baldwin. Thank you, council members and supervisor, for allowing me to speak today. I just wanted to say I live in the Mendocino Green Apartments, right in the midst of the property that's looking for the exemption. And as the previous speaker said, we already have an auto repair station directly across the street on Grand Avenue. I mean, they're there already. The fumes, the noise that's emanating from this particular establishment, especially on a windy day, they flow directly into our homes. Adding another auto repair body shop directly next to our co-op further increases the noise, health risks, emissions, fumes, solvents. We have families living there with very young children, and in fact, our neighbor's backyard is directly next to this proposed site, and those children and the little dog play in the yard. As well, the new owners, they did clean the place up, I'll admit that, but they demonstrated disrespect and disregard for the families in the neighborhood. During construction, they began work early in the morning, and they continue to work well into the evening. There was no relief from the noise or toxic fumes as they also worked these hours on the weekend. In fact, when they were shut down for building code violations, the inspector was there to investigate construction work being done on a Sunday morning when everybody was trying to sleep in. We have no reason to believe they won't continue their blatant disregard for the health and well-being of the families in our community. In fact, right now, there are 2 junked cars sitting in front of their properties, one without a wheel, one with broken windows, that's not being taken care of. For the 20 years that I have lived here, the previous owners, although it was an auto repair shop, he actually was semi-retired and actually did no work. He may have changed a flat tire every now and again, but he really didn't do anything. He did use the place to collect iron and steel for salvage, but he started late in the day, didn't show up till 10 o'clock in the morning, and he left promptly at 5 every day. We do support new businesses to open this location, but it's not the appropriate one for a community with families so close. There are already numerous repair shops located along Grand Avenue. I also have some neighbors who are in strong opposition to the auto repair shop to open at the site, but weren't able to attend. I do have about 20 signatures and notes from these people, if I can enter those into evidence as well.
Absolutely. Somebody will grab those and present them to the town clerk to be part of the record.
Thank you very much. That's all I have for you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. McElroy. I appreciate you coming down. Next, I have Phyllis Coles. How you doing? You want to speak?
Supervisor, just while the resident's making her way to the microphone, I have a letter that was emailed to me from the same address as the last speaker, 1600 Grand Avenue, in opposition of the special exception. I would just like to submit it to the clerk for the record.
Hi, Ms. Coles, if you give me your name and address of the record.
Yes. The name is Phyllis Coles, residing at 1570 Grand Avenue, Baldwin, New York. I've been living there for 16 years, and the first 16 years I was seeing this awful eyesight that was previously before. My concern with this new garage being built up is the parking, like was said before. It's horrible coming out of my section. There's no light. It's a speedway on Grand Avenue. Then when there's cars parked on Grand Avenue, it causes a blind sight. There have been numerous accidents on Grand Avenue, especially in that section. So it's very difficult for me and the rest of my fellow neighbors to come out of that section to look both ways because there is no light at that section. So with the cars being parked there, with a garage there, it would be very difficult for us to come out. And children are riding their bicycles as well, and it's just not a good thing to have that garage there, in my opinion. Like we said, we have a garage across the street. I use them. I find them to do excellent work. So to have another garage, I don't understand. I know it's part of business. It's good if you have a dry cleaners on one corner. It's good to have another cleaners on another. It's competition. I understand that, but not another garage where there is fumes, like was mentioned before, and the parking, which would definitely cause a blind sight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Coles. In addition, I know that's a county road, and I will reach out to the county police department and the legislature about enforcing the area there. I know there's a speed camera, I think, north of that location, but maybe they should warrant a traffic study for that area. I do not have any other slips on item number 8. Is there anybody who did not sign in that's in the audience who wants to speak on it? If not, Mr. McKevitt?
I just want to add one quick thing. I have email also for the record from the same gentleman who spoke before and somebody else from the same address. It's probably a duplicate, but I'd like to hand it to the record.
I have a question. Tom, is it a sprinkler building? Do you know that? Is the
No, it's not sprinkler. The original building was built in 1940.
Okay, and now, the other thing is there going to be any upgrade to the ventilation system? I see on the photo that you have an air conditioner up front. Is there anything that's going to be?
Thank you.
Yeah, the building needs a substantial renovation, as you're clear, and the HVAC system will be upgraded. As you can see, there's an old air conditioning unit which essentially doesn't work. So again, as part of the renovation, he'll be making this look absolutely pristine. And major renovation. The appearance right now, again, is horrible. He wants customers to come into this place, and no one is going to bring their car to the way that place looks right now. Again, it looks absolutely awful, you know. And just go back to the history of his property. This has been an auto repair shop since 1940. So for literally 82 years, that's what's been at the site, and actually predates the apartments that were there by 20 years. And, you know, as far as my client's concerned, he's in the auto repair business. It's what he did. He frankly thought it was as of right. That's why he went and bought this property at that time, because he thought he could go in there. And again, just by some sort of, you know, the procedure, you know, it was not as of right, but that's why he bought it and is there, because that's the business he's in. You know, if the board so chooses to deny the application, my client will probably have no other choice but to default on his mortgage before it closed out, and some other use is going to have to go in there. And the thing which he does there is making sure that he will keep everything on site, but this site could literally become a 24-hour convenience store as of right, you know, under the building zone ordinance right now. So I think the use which he's proposing there is far less intense than other as-of-right uses which would go there without any variance or any exception from this board whatsoever. Clearly, again, my client will make sure that all the regulations are being imposed. The building department has not been shy to shut him down, and if he does anything inappropriate, they should shut him down, because he should not be working on weekends or other times. And again, I encourage the building department to have vigilant enforcement. As far as the car is concerned, there are 2 cars in front of the property right now. They are not my client's cars. He informs me that's another person in the neighborhood who just literally dumps the cars off of there and does work on them himself, but it's not my client's. My client welcomes any type of enforcement or parking restriction you so wish to do to make it safe for the area. Again, it's only better for him that that area remain clear so his customers get in and out of the site. So again, any type of parking restriction you have, my client will join you in making that happen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McKibben. Any other board members have any other questions? If not, may I please have a motion?
At this point in time, Tom, we're going to have some more discussions on this in the future.
Absolutely.
At this point in time, we're going to reserve decision. I'm going to make the motion to reserve decision.
Second the motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
All right, thank you, Mr. McKibben. Thank you for the residents who came in.
And I would suggest the residents meet with Mr. McKevitt before he leaves today. He's very forthcoming with the neighborhood, and he works very well. So if you guys can maybe meet with him and the owner, set up a meeting, maybe you guys can come to some sort of resolution on that.
And to clarify for the record, that was a vote on item 8A. So can we have a motion for 8?
Okay, make a motion on 8. Anybody?
Yes, I'm including that. I vote that we reserve decision.
You got to make a motion to reserve on exclusively.
They do have to be separate votes.
Okay, so somebody just make a motion to reserve on 8, please.
So you're going to make the motion to reserve.
Second.
I will make the motion to reserve decision on 8.
Second.
Supervisor Cliff.
Aye.
Councilman Carini. Councilman Carini. Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn. Aye. Senior Councilwoman Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the decision calendar.
We have a resolution adopting a SEQA and determination of non-significance in connection with an application to rezone a parcel of land located in Roosevelt.
May I have a motion?
I moved the decision and recommend, we recommend that we pass it, accept it.
No, decision calendar.
Oh, no, this is a decision. This is a decision. I recommend that we pass decision, okay? That's what we're doing.
Second.
So that's
Town Attorney, can we?
Is that a motion?
clarify the record?
Yes, I believe the motion is to adopt 9A.
Yes, it is.
And the second is by Councilman Dunn.
Okay, Supervisor Clavin.
Aye?
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Number
Councilman
9.
D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilman Miller.
As I was not a
Councilwoman
board
Miller.
member at the time, I'm going to abstain from voting.
Yes. And Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the administrative calendar.
No, we got
Actually,
I'm sorry.
number 9.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The application of Bola Oil Corporation to include an existing gasoline service station and to extend premises and install 2 storage tanks each with a capacity of 15,000 gallons in Roosevelt.
I move the decision and accept, and ask for acceptance.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Guzman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Again, I abstain from voting.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
And I really am very appreciative of this. Thank you all for voting for it. Bola will make a beautiful service station in that particular area, as they normally do.
Excellent. Excellent. Madam Clerk, now please call the administrative calendar.
On the administrative calendar, we have items 10 through 71.
First, does any member of the board wish to sever any item on the administrative calendar? Okay, I have a couple of substantive people who wish to be heard. First, we'll start off with Felix Bercacci. Morning, Mr. Bercacci. If you give me a name and address for the record, thanks.
Felix Procacci, Franklin Square. On item number 33, the repurposing of Federal CARES Act funds, why is $83,000 being used to pay for legal services with Federal CARES funds?
That was John? Was that the attorney who did all the reviews to make sure we're in compliance?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
These are expenses that were incurred prior to December 31st of last year, and they provide the permissibility. They review every request. They relate it to the law, to the FAQs, and the money that's being repurposed, we're offsetting it against expenses that have already been incurred.
And those were non-budgeted expenses because of the pandemic. That's
Those
why
are
it's permissible.
non-budgeted
Yeah.
expenses.
Okay.
And one more thing, can I get the records that this attorney generated in approving these expenditures?
I think that would be in compliance with the FOIL request, Mr. Bercacci. You're
I'm
familiar
saying,
with those.
can I FOIL those records? That's what I'm asking.
You can send in any FOIL you want.
Okay.
They exist, every single one.
Okay.
Yep.
Number 4.
On number 56, the American Rescue Plan, $15 million is being allocated. This resolution has no description, once again, in violation of the open meetings law, which requires some sort of description of what you're spending the money on. So once again, I'm going to FOIL it because you didn't provide it, but it should be an unnecessary FOIL. You should provide whatever documents you use to determine $15 million was needed and provide this as an appended to the resolution. It's just, this common practice. I wish you would just follow the law.
I think Joe, do you think we're following the law? Absolutely. Yeah. The town attorney thinks we're following the law, so I'm going to go with him.
Okay, $15 million, and we have no idea how that's spent, and that's following the law. I disagree with the attorney there, and he's just going to agree with you on anything.
Controller is available to answer.
John, Joe, you think so? I appreciate it. That's why he's the town attorney. So
he'll agree with anything you say. He does not going to disagree.
Oh, you don't know Joe well. No, he doesn't.
That's definitely not the case.
Well, not publicly. Maybe in the private he might disagree with you, but here in the meeting he ain't going to disagree with you. You know that. I know that. I've been here a long time. You know that that's the case.
That's what he said.
There's a few hires. Christopher Nocella, is that related to anybody, any town official?
I'm not related to him, so I don't know. I didn't ask for that.
Well, the personnel person might know it, the personnel director.
If they're qualified for the position, why would it matter?
Oh, because a lot of times they don't file applications. The jobs are not open to the public. They're just selectively picked. And I've foiled records where I found out that people were. Everybody should have an opportunity to apply for jobs.
So someone who may or may not be related to someone in the town of Hempstead gets brought up at a town board meeting because you think they may be related.
Well,
it's a question.
Well, this is my place to speak. This is not a Q&A session as you all.
No, this can be. It's public comment. That's not a Q&A
I'm
session.
asking a question. Whether you want to answer it or not is another thing. I mean, that's up to you.
Okay.
You don't want to answer the question, and then.
No, I said he's not related to me.
I didn't say ask you if it's. I'm saying is it related to any town official?
I'm a town official.
So Olivia Murray, is that related to anyone?
But Mr. Cacci, you asked it, so I gave you a response.
Okay.
I'm just saying, you asked me.
Is Olivia Murray related to any town official?
I have no idea.
Okay. And Christian Alfano? You have no idea?
But I have no idea.
Okay, that's fine.
Do you-
Require a 23.
Just asking the question. Thank you so much.
Okay. Next, I have Bonnie Garone. Morning, Ms. Garone, if you give your name and address for the record. You want it lowered? Maybe somebody can help if the mic's a little too high. Thanks, Joe. You don't have to move the podium, Joe. With one arm over your shoulder.
I'm sorry, I don't know how to do this. That was easy.
Joe, if you break it, you buy it. Thank you, Brian. Good morning, Ms. Grote. If you give your name and address for the record.
Bonnie Garone, Rockville Center. First question I'll ask is on number 56. Felix didn't ask you this, but what is that $15.2 million being spent on?
So, Town Controller John Mastromarino.
It is being spent on payroll expenses according to the terms of the grant, under the terms of the FAQs from Treasury. It's payroll.
Okay, thank you. Item 48 is to approve certain business sponsorships in exchange for advertising and signage in the summer concert series. And the list of such sponsorships is supposed to be attached as Exhibit A. There is no Exhibit A. So I'd ask that someone make some copies and distribute them so we can see who's getting these sponsorships before you vote on this today, and so that actually you can see who's on that list before you vote on it today, because that's required. So please, can someone do that?
Commissioner Zangler, you can take care of getting that? Yes? Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you. And I have some questions on item 49. This is for grass cutting throughout the town. And the bid was it's almost $25,000 per cut. And the total could be up to $500,000. Now, don't we have staff on payroll who can cut the grass instead of this $500,000 expense?
Is Commissioner Calarasi here? Great. Thanks, Greg.
Morning. We have contracts with certain grass cutters to cut fields and grass. It winds up being cheaper to contract it out. It has to be, there's 15 cuts per section. It's got to be cut every 14 days.
So we don't have staff who are available?
No, he didn't say that. He just said it's cheaper for these parcels to do it out. He never said we didn't have staff to do that.
Okay,
And by the way, it's based on location, and again, the commissioner saying it's a cost saving to add this to the staffing we already have of the men and women who work hard in the town, maintaining roads, cutting grass, maintaining parks. So it's a supplement to them. It's actually cost effective.
I understand you're saying it's cost effective, but I'm asking, why can't people on the payroll do this to save $500,000? And what about the possibility of hiring some young people for the summer? I don't mean, teenagers. I mean, well, it shouldn't be young people. Hiring some people for the summer, give some residents summer jobs, give them some training, some mentorship in the workplace, and let them cut the grass instead of paying a company. Sir, can I finish?
No, Ms. Grun, I just want to help you understand. We actually do hire seasonal and part-times in all the departments to do those sort of jobs as well. As I'm sure you're aware, you know what, Frank, how many parks do we have? 192 parks. 192 parks. We've got, how many miles of roadway, Greg?
1,200.
1,200 miles. you know, we do bring in, regardless, we just don't limit it to your idea of young people. We bring in anybody who wants to come and work seasonal or part-time, and we use those individuals in those capacities. This is to supplement it. You know, this is sort of common in a lot of areas that they bring in outside sources to supplement it to get the job done.
Okay, so I don't interrupt you, so I respectfully ask that you not interrupt me, whether it's to help me or not. Again, I would urge you to use this $500,000 to aid our residents, our young people, instead of paying $500,000 to a company to simply cut our grass. Now, I have some other questions. Speaking of young people.
If I may, we also cut a lot of properties, but it's so much grass that we contracted out.
Yeah, I just want to say from an insurance perspective and a liability, there's a danger zone in some of these areas that the state has on the highways and stuff like that. And we really have to go to the private sector for the professionalism and the liability and the workman's comp and everything like that to make sure that they're skilled at a high level for that type of safety for our employees and for everybody else who, you know, this takes place on the highways that we drive over. So that's my perspective.
Thank you. Item 16, speaking of young people, this is increasing from $95 to $250, the fee to participate in the Junior Ocean Lifeguarding Program. Can someone describe what this program is and approximately how many people participate?
Morning, Supervisor, members of the board, Frank Sangler, Parks and Recreation. Ma'am, the Junior Lifeguard Program is it's sort of like a farm team for our lifeguarding staff. It's growing and growing every year. We end up purchasing more and more equipment, such as they call them rash guards. They're like pullover shirts. So the boards, the safety boards that they go out with don't, you know, cause rashes and other stuff to people's skins. The boards, the equipment, the shirts, the staffing. The fee hasn't been raised, from what I understand, in over 10 years. So it's been the same fee forever. And in determining the increase of the fee, we found that the price that we set is hundreds less than what other municipalities are offering.
Okay,
Great work, Frank.
Thank you. Is there any provision for scholarships or a sliding scale or other accommodations for youth whose families perhaps cannot afford $250 per child?
No, not that I'm sure of, no.
Is that something that you can implement?
We could look into it, certainly could look into it, because there's many families that are in that position, but we can look into that.
Yes, thank you. There are many families in that position. And how are people, is this advertised? How do people get the opportunity, young people, to sign up for this program?
It's advertised. I think we have it on the website. Yeah,
all social media, we send it out there, and that's why we have such a great turnout. And Frank,
bigger and bigger every year.
to compliment you, I think it turned out well that you've trained these lifeguards, and last year where other municipalities had shortages in lifeguards, we actually didn't, because you and your crew had actually been training these guards for a long time, and we're able to maintain our beaches and oceans.
It was scary, and it actually gets kids interested in lifeguarding, which helps us in the future when they get older.
Kudos to you, Frank, and the Parks Department and everybody down there. Good job.
This sounds like a great program. It really does. And just what we need, but I would appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that nice compliment on that.
Make some
Thank you.
arrangements so
Well,
that people.
I'm actually going to, Frank, we'll talk to the other minute. We'll talk to Joe Saladino. We'll let him know about the idea, and then he can tell everybody it was his. All right?
Yeah.
I do not have any other slips regarding the administrative calendar. Anybody who is here did not sign in and wish to be heard? Great. If not, may I please have a motion?
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn. Senior Councilwoman Gooseby. Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye. May make a motion to adjourn.
Supervisor, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn. Senior Councilwoman Gooseby. Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye. Okay, now that the formal portion of the program is done, the town board will remain to listen to the comments of residents. We have a number of people who signed in, and we'll start off with our very own Felix Procacci.
Felix Procacci, Franklin Square. Last month, the state comptroller published the budget audit of the town of Hempstead. The auditors recommended the town present budget estimates in realistic and transparent manner, properly budget for salaries and wages, and monitor the budget throughout the year and make necessary amendments. The town controller disagreed with certain findings in the audit and stated in one instance it is disingenuous in any analysis to pick and choose individual data that supports the assertion that there was a tax increase during the period under audit. But this is not what the audit said. It said the amount of deficit reduction was inappropriately subtracted from the fund's estimated revenues, resulting in raising $43.8 million in taxes, more than necessary to fund the budgeted expenditures over a 4-year period. Last year, in a town-funded mailing titled Budget Report Update, the town controller appeared in a picture with the town supervisor touting a tax cut. A similar mailing was sent out in 2020 touting how the town's 2021 budget expenses were being slashed from the prior year's levels. Within these 4-page documents, nowhere does it say the town used $20 million in reserves to balance its 2021 and 2022 budgets. Nowhere in these documents did it say the town used about $100 million in federal CARES funds for payroll and to pay for capital improvements. Nowhere in these documents did it say that the town increased taxes to pay for water department upgrades. It is disingenuous for town officials to say they slashed costs in their 2021 budget when their budget shows a 4% increase. It is disingenuous for town officials to say they are fiscally responsible or transparent when they craft back-to-back budgets with $20 million deficits and illegally use federal CARES funds to make payroll and fund capital improvements without informing residents. It is disingenuous for town officials to redefine the definition of a tax increase just because it is used to pay for a state mandate. Being deceptive is a common trait in Hempstead town officials going back many years. In the town's 2016 budget report, then Receiver of Taxes Don Clavin and Supervisor Murray touted the town's 4th tax freeze in 5 years, but failed to tout the town's 3 consecutive credit downgrades that followed. What caused the town's eventual credit upgrades was the tax and fee increases and the budget cuts implemented by former Supervisor Santino. It is disingenuous for town officials to pick and choose individual data that supports the assertions that they are fiscally responsible or have held the line on expenses, when in fact the town's own data doesn't support these assertions. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Piccacci. Thanks for recognizing the 2 bond upgrades and the taxes we cut. Next I have on the agenda is Bonnie Garone. Good morning.
Good morning. Bonnie Garone, Rockville Center. First, I'd note that item 48 was passed without having the list of sponsorships, so you just approved sponsorships that you didn't even have before you.
No, actually, we do have the list of sponsorships, so the town board had them.
So then you have it, but the residents are not allowed to have it. I still have
If you'd like, we can read them to you right now. We have Island Federal Credit Union, Mount Sinai, Ivorone Brothers, Baseline Health Medical, Ridgeline Savings Bank, Nassau Federal Credit Union, Jovia Financial Credit Union, Morsi and Morsi, Hofstra University, and Baylor Nursing and Rehab, just so you know them. If you have any opposition to any of those, my sponsors, let us know.
Are there any amounts?
What?
Are the amounts listed?
Yes, $2,500 and $1,500.
Sir, you said you would, when I spoke earlier, you said that someone would make copies and let us see it before you passed it. Please.
Okay.
I'm still waiting for the copy. But I will move on. You know, at public comment, I always like to cite to some example of loss, and I'll do that today. You had a couple items on the calendar to dispose of records according to, state guidelines, which is terrific. And I just would like to remind all of you and the town clerk who is responsible for all the records of some items from the state's retention and disposition schedule for New York State local governments, the 2020 edition. Number 1, please be sure that any record listed in the schedule for which a Freedom of Information Law request has been received should not be destroyed until that request has been actually answered, and until any potential appeal is made and resolved, even if the retention period of the record has passed. So when you're looking at records whose retention period has seemed to have passed, please make sure that none of them are subject to an existing FOIL request. And my guess is there may be many, since you have many, many outstanding FOIL requests. Also, there is one category of items for which retention is permanent, and I would just remind you of that. On page 8 of the state schedule, any documents related to reapportionment for a legislative body, including background material, the retention is permanent. So please be sure to abide by that and not inadvertently dispose of any past reapportionment documents. Finally, again, I will ask you to convene an advisory committee for the animal shelter. Over the past several absolutely beautiful days, people have visited the shelter and seen that there were absolutely no dogs outside exercising, being walked out in pens. Also, at the same time, the one-time cattery, which was really a great invention. And I remember speaking once with Councilman D'Esposito, and him mentioning that maybe at some point we could even get a webcam in there to broadcast on the website and have people see the cats running, playing, et cetera, to generate interest. Well, not only do we not have a webcam, which would have been a great idea, we also have no cattery. The cattery is empty. So I'm not sure what's happening, but with a $5.5 million budget, we can and should do better, and we could actually be a showplace for Long Island and for the nation if we did better. So please, let's put together a group of interested people who can make some helpful suggestions.
Thanks, Ms. Garone. Always a pleasure to see you. Next, I have Stuart Kroll, or Stu Kroll. Your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
Stu Kroll, Great Neck. On a positive note, the town of Hempstead has the TNR program operating at full capacity. We won't mention the fact that as a virtually contactless program, this should have occurred more or less 1 year ago. There are numerous reasons why cats and dogs at the shelter are not being properly socialized and getting the time and attention they deserve. There recently has been evidence presented that our dogs are very rarely, if ever, being availed of the use of dog runs, outside dog runs. Why do these runs exist if they're not going to be used? The few times I have visited the shelter, admittedly not recently, on beautiful weather days, there wasn't one dog outside getting exercise. Why are these dogs left to languish in their cages? We have more than a $4 million payroll. These dogs should constantly be receiving enrichment training, leading to numerous adoptions. We currently have volunteers donating their time at the shelter. If the answer to this is affirmative, what are they doing to socialize these animals? We are painfully aware that when dogs are left to languish, they may become aggressive. Regrettably, that can lead to euthanasia at the town shelter. These dogs are not living at the shelter serving a life sentence. They are deserving of volunteers and employees working with them so they end up being pets in good homes. Why are there no cats in the cattery? While ringworm is a serious concern, it normally clears up in a few weeks. There are far too many cats also languishing in cages. They should only be caged when medical needs to be addressed or upon intake for a very limited period of time. These cats also need socialization leading to adoption. At a private adoption facility, everyone that I've worked with, none of these animals are left to rot in cages. It apparently is easier for the town to cage these animals and then ship, often adoptable cats, off to Good Shepherd Sanctuary in Maryland. At this point, it is patently obvious that this neglect occurs due to indifference, callousness, and ineptitude on the part of our shelter leadership. We have a shelter director, Pastore, properly trained at the Euthanasia Happy ACC in Manhattan. His objectivity extends to giving his approval to a heinous facility in Utica. This facility was so bad the Utica mayor was driven to tears, which of course is on video. The quote-unquote behaviorist trainer Fonte was hired over her competition. There were two people applying, Miss Sorrentino. Sorrentino had 30 years of experience and asked for less money. Fonte lied about most of her credentials, which she later got. Yes, it does seem like Fonte was a logical choice to be hired. Do we smell a political connection? The tragic results of such corrupt choices in that our animals are often neglected and not getting the care they deserve in order to be socialized and adopted. While we wait for the wheels of justice to inexorably move forward, has Mr. Uri been suspended by the town? This man was arrested and charged with multiple counts of torturing animals. It's terribly disrespectful to other town employees to be forced to interact with such a man. Incidentally, I've thoroughly enjoyed my visit.
Thanks, Mr. Kroll. Thanks for visiting the town of Hempstead. Next, I have up Diane Madden. Morning, Ms. Madden. If you give your name and address for the record, thank you.
Good morning, Hempstead. Diane Madden, Supervisor, what are you doing about the animal shelter? I was there again yesterday. I can see why many people don't even want to go or return. It's quite nauseating. No dogs in the pens, no dogs being trained, no dogs in the agilities. I saw one volunteer. In previous years, they were bursting with volunteers. I agree the program had to get in check, but when is it going to be re-implemented and started again? Every problem discussed here in relation to the animal shelter is a management problem. And these animals are at your mercy, Supervisor, to change the management. You have a commissioner who has tried to convince you to shut down the kennels. And the reason for that is because every dog in there, if you look around, and I hope you do, they're broken. Their spirits are broken. It's actually very depressing. There are no public members, there are no rescuers, there are no volunteers. It's like a morgue. It's become a warehouse of animals that are there long-term, not getting the rehabilitation they need. And you recognized yourself publicly and verbally that there's mismanagement there, that the shelter needs oversight. These animals shouldn't need to wait an entire election year for any glimmer of hope or mercy. Yesterday I was at the shelter, as I mentioned, and there was a volunteer, one for the cats, who is was a pediatrician. And she left in complete frustration, very upset, kind of tossed a memorandum on the counter about a cat needing medical that apparently was not getting it. I don't know how low you think this shelter has to get to actually change the management, but it's your job to do it, and you promised to do it. And as much as I appreciate Bonnie Garone's suggestion about some kind of group to make suggestions, I saw your ears perked up about a camera. We're not looking for suggestions to do photo ops. We're looking for new management. And new management that comes in with ideas and a book of policies and procedures that are life-saving, that they will enforce. You're not going to need any kind of oversight, and you're not going to need any kind of advocacy or suggestion group, because this person will know what to do. These animals at this point have become evidence, and that's why Mr. Pastore and Mr. Marino did not want people in the kennels. I urge you to act, and at any point...
Thank you, Ms. Madden, as always.
any
We
point-
appreciate all your thoughts. I don't have any other slips from anybody in the audience that's here that'd like to be heard. If not, then I'd say thank you all very much and have a beautiful day.
Great job, Supervisor.